Brought to you by In Theory BJJ, the smoothest name in concept-driven jiu-jitsu. Available at www.intheorybjj.com. We return with another episode of Villaincast, BJJ anti-heroes with your hosts, Chris the Villain Paynes and Naki El Jefe Arshed. Now settle in one and all, boys and girls, because we're back with Reap the Week.
We're back. It's been a while. We did do a couple, and I just haven't released them. And I think too much time has passed now for me to release them. So I thought, screw it. Let's just go in dry. Let's just come back and do it again. Hey, Nak. It's been a long time,
Hello,
man. Shouldn't have left you.
I know, yeah. I know.
But
It happens. It's part of
Aaliyah,
life.
for anyone who's old enough. How have you been? How's life, training?
Been good, man. Been good.
I see
How
you all
about
the time,
yourself?
so I don't know why I'm asking you.
I know.
Not too bad right now. I'm girthy boy. Hit triple digits for the first time.
Ooh,
I know. Enjoying food too much right now. Food and lifting. Terrible combination. Any news you want to get off your chest before we start?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, I'm honest.
Oh, okay then. So I'd open it up like that. Oh, wait there. You've got a MMA fight.
Yeah, it's been postponed, Auntie, because the venue, I think something's happened to the venue.
Yeah. That was supposed to be in July.
July, yeah.
Has he got any idea of when the next one will be, or is it just up in the air right now?
August, September, he said.
Okay
So
then.
just wait for a day. It just gives us more time, really.
How are you feeling for it?
Good, man. I can't wait. I need to get in there.
Did you have an opponent set up for you?
No, he was finding one. Like, my name was through and just looking for opponents.
Who would take that fight, eh? Who would be silly enough?
We don't know. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I know. I was looking forward to seeing it. I'd even set aside that weekend and not planning anything that weekend. I'm being around because I want to be on there in that fight. And all of a sudden it cancels anyway. Terrible. A couple of things for the podcast. Subjects. I didn't put up a Villaincast post, but I'm sure this will kickstart it all over again. So try not to be too topical. I don't want to feel like it's dogpiling. But it's probably worth thinking about and talking about. I think it's a good topic. So it's been in the news. That guy who got his neck busted. I can see you nodding already.
I knew what you were going to talk
Ironically. Yeah. So the guy who got awarded the huge payout. There was it $56 million.
Yeah.
I know, but we have to address it. So first off, I actually know the guy, not the one who had his neck busted, the other one, like the coach. He's actually an ex-Globetrotters coach. So like early days Globetrotters, Sinistro. And I remember when the story first broke, so apparently it happened like 2018. When the story first broke about it, like Henna Gracie obviously chucked all of us under the bus. Do you remember when he did that? I think, didn't Tom DeBlas have something against it? Or am I just...
I
Tom
can't
Blass has got
remember. Yeah, I
something.
knew it was... I remember it being a big uproar about it, but...
Yeah,
56
Henna
mil.
literally... He said if it was Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, it would never have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the problem with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, nothing happens. That's why.
We're up to
That's
this
why
one.
it never happened.
It hasn't
Like
been
Gracie
5
combatants.
minutes. It hasn't been 5 minutes with trashing GB.
No, wait there. It's not Gracie Barra, is he? He's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He's
Oh, yeah.
he's
yeah,
one
yeah.
above Gracie, above the Baja. But yeah, fuck Henna Gracie. That maybe should be on our new T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't think of a slogan, so just fuck Henna Gracie. But yeah, so like it's awful. Like the guy obviously, got pretty busted up, to say the least. And so it's just a shit show all around, thinking that Sinistro's gone through that, the guy's gone through that. It's bollocks. But if anything, it puts the wind up the rest of us, because it's like, holy shit, we don't want any of that kind of stuff happening. Not from like obviously we don't want to get sued and kind of perspective, but also just on a moral standpoint of, I don't want to see any of our guys get crippled. Do you hear about the other one? Because this is in both our wheelhouses, so I think it's kind of important. You hear about that kid recently, 17-year-old kid or something like that, who died after a fight, kickboxing?
No, but isn't it common now, like especially in boxing, where loads of boxing deaths over the last year. But I don't know which one you're talking about.
It was a UK lad. After Jamie, pull it up. It was I think it was like, it might have been younger. It might have been 14 or something. 14 or 17. I have to find the story in a second.
Was it to do with weight cutting?
No, I think he'd had a fight, like a sanctioned fight on a promotion with like a 34-year-old guy. And then he was in another fight like very recently, and he died after the fight. And there was like the coroner is kind of piling on, saying, "What the hell is this guy doing fighting a 34-year-old?" And that's enough to make you go. We have sparring between people in their teens and older people and shit, and there's obviously the weight categories, etc. when we're in sparring, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening, because then like the coroner was kind of piling on, saying, how has this ever happened, and etc. And there was nothing in place, like with regards to safety protocols, I think on the promotion, etc. Like, how could this have happened? And I think that's something to definitely consider, is that I think the days of it being the Wild West, of us being able to go, well, it's just combat sports, like just bleed, the tap out era has long gone. Of MMA being some back alley shit, and let the chips kind of fall. Now it's more mainstream. More people are getting into the sport. These things are going to happen, and not to and we'll go into it a bit further, but this idea that, well, health and safety, we are, as the competent person, responsible for it. So we're kind of fucked. What are your thoughts on that, especially with younger people sparring? What are your thoughts, especially from a kickboxing MMA kind of standpoint? I'll try and find the story.
Like, again, this is me personally, and this fits in with the whole what you're saying, like competition, for example. I've had some parents ask me, like, do you think it's do you want them to compete, like? And I'm like, unless they don't want to or you want them to, like, I don't think they should be competing, because I personally think like it puts a lot of kids off. Like, I think you're going to lose kids who are potentially good physically, but let's say they take a loss at a young age and they just can't get over it. Like, you lost potentially a good fighter for the future. So I personally say to them, look, let them get a bit older, 16, 17, and then we can see if they can start competing. But again, you'll always have outliers, won't you? You'll have like kids who will just nuts, they can compete from a young age, and I haven't had a parent yet force me to say like, oh yeah, I want you to take my child and make them compete. But it's one of them, like, I'm not too I think, well, you're right, that 17 with a 34-year-old was a big jump, and especially experience-wise, I think that 34-year-old, like, imagine, for example, me, I'm 33 years old now, and putting me against someone like, I don't know, let's say Louis, he's 17. Like, yeah, in the gym, I let him do things, blah, 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 here and there, but in a fight, it wouldn't be completely fair at all, and it's... And like you say, like it's not the Wild West anymore. We should, as a sport or sports, like I'm talking MMA, BJJ, submission grappling, whatever you want to call it. It's all mainstream. The tech is there. The science is there now. Injuries, for example, injury prevention, recovering from injuries, all that stuff is now, it's faster, it's better. There's loads more information out there, and I think people need to move on from, like you say, the tap out era of, oh, let's just get in there, let's just brawl. I mean, there's even fighters who say they don't spar anymore, or they haven't sparred for a few years, or sparring, they've changed the way they spar. And like CTE, man, brain damage is so visible right now. I think we're going to have a big, especially a lot of the fighters who are going to start retiring now, or have retired for a few years. You will start seeing the damage on some of these guys, like we already have, like someone like BJ Penn. He's recently been through the news.
Yeah.
So
I found this story about this kid.
Oh,
carry on.
Yeah, personally, I don't think they should. Unless the kid you think is good enough to compete, I don't think it should be pushed upon any kid until they make up their mind, or they're mentally sound enough to be able to go and compete and overcome a loss, or learn to overcome a loss and to adapt to make themselves better, rather than you get parents just shouting at their kids. Like, for example, when you see parents always at competitions from the sideline shouting, I'm thinking, oh my god, I probably wouldn't be able to do this if I had to take some kids to compete. Let me coach. I can't have you standing on the sideline flipping shouting shit. You know what I mean? I'm personally yet to experience that because I haven't took any kids to compete. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the so I found the story, and it was on the BBC today. Today, 10th of June, recording this. The 10th of June today? Yesterday. 15-year-old kickboxer died. He'd had a bout with a 34-year-old man the week before. This kid Alex from Liverpool. It had a light contact kickboxing match against a 17-year-old opponent in a gym in Wigan. So he'd fought the 17-year-old, and that's when he died after the fight. And the week before, he fought this 34-year-old. He was taken to hospital, but had suffered a serious head injury and died 3 days later. And he took up kickboxing at age 9. So he'd been training for 6 years, 5 times a week. And he was 6'7" and weighed 80 kilos at 15.
Wow.
Is something knocking your microphone?
No, it was my table. 6'7", 80 kilos.
Yeah. 6'7", 80 kilos. Yeah. So the kid was a bit of a mountain, scrawny mountain, but still a mountain. And so he'd had a fight with a 34-year-old the week before, and that's what kind of got the coroner's ire up. And then had a bout, in a gym bout with a 17-year-old, get hit in the head, and then he died 3 days later. And
sad, that is one. Sad.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's what's scary. And it's the whole thing. So we know more about CTE now. And we know about traumatic brain injuries. Like, you get hit in the head. And I think there's an element of, because I think something I hadn't considered as much when I've been thinking about this, is about parents pushing kids. Is that we have, I've actually had a fair amount of parents contact me through the website asking how young we do MMA classes. And I'm like, the simple fact that you're asking about kids' MMA means that you don't understand what this entails. Like, you're not, informed enough to give consent as to what is happening. And neither's the child, really. I mean, not to sound... The problem is that when you start going down this route, people go, oh, pussy. Like, it's a combat sport, what do you expect? But I'm like, yeah, but if this was like a couple hundred years ago in Sparta or whatever, like, yeah, sure, we could have that mentality. But it's 2025, and as you've just seen, it's up to the fucking coach. And if it's shit floats to the top, and it's the gyms that are held responsible if someone gets life-changing injuries or dies. Like, we can all go like, yeah, just bleed, fucking get in there and have a scrap. Sign your waiver and, your life's forfeit kind of shit. No, it ain't. A waiver's worth nothing. If anything goes wrong, shit floats to the top, and they're going to ask at the top, what did you have in place? And when you say, nothing, like we're having a fight, they'll go, unfortunately, the law disagrees if you're a business. Like, this ain't Fight Club. As much as like you have people on Facebook posting those kind of things, we're not Fight Club. Like, we're a sport. We are businesses. I think that's one thing that scared me a lot about the submission stuff recently, is that I saw some stories about people who had strokes after being choked. And I'm like, we know about CTE because we've been doing it long enough to see now, down the line, enough people have been hit in the head. What was the kind of results from it? We haven't been choking each other long enough to understand the ramifications of just base chokes. Like, what if you put a choke on someone and crush their neck up a little bit? What will that cause eventually? And now we've had people reporting strokes, and I'm like, and that goes into the further conversation then of, as the competent person in the room, if you're the black belt or the highest belt on the mat, you're the competent person. And it's your job. Like, if someone comes in the room, they are an uninformed person, which means that vicarious liability means it is your fucking show. If you don't give them all the information necessary, you shouldn't be letting them doing certain things.
I think that's why I like the way we do things, like how we say certain people can't do certain things, or certain belts can't do certain things, or if you're applying chokes or submissions, like, it's reiterated every session. It's not like a one-off thing. Doesn't matter whether if you're new or old, at the start of sparring, it's always reiterated the same thing over and over and over again, whether situationals or full sparring. That's why I think, like, if we did a study, the injury rate in our gym has dropped significantly so much, over the years, because of the way we've been starting training.
I think, because I think there was a point where, when we were less informed and it was more the post-tap out era, like, we'd put submissions on and then we'd hold them on. We'd put them on with some tension, and people wouldn't tap, and all of a sudden you'd hear like a pop or something. Yeah. And it wasn't common. It wasn't like
we used to pop each other, you know what I mean? It was silly, and now look how we rolled way more aggressively, but we haven't injured each other for a long, long time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, and this is one thing that, when we did on Monday about, I think when stuff like this happens, it is up to the coach. Like, I steal a lot from my previous employment, but I think it's up to the competent person in the room, the coach, to be informed about the injury profile of what you're doing. And if you're not then implementing learning from that, like, so we know about this thing that's happened to this guy's neck. It was a freak accident. I've seen the video. It was the Leo Vieira back take he was trying, a well-known video technique. Just this guy was trying to Granby roll at the same time, and then something happens, and I don't blame him for then going to get compensation. Like, I was talking to someone about it, and like, if I was left in a wheelchair, I'd like to be set up for life, please. And so who am I going to go after?
Yeah.
Like, of course that's going to be the fucking case. But it's so on a legal standpoint, vicarious liability, it floats to the top. On a moral standpoint, as the competent person, we should be putting everything in place to make sure that we don't see that happen, because, I care about every single person that ever walks in that room, and I don't want to see any of them go home or to hospital. Home hurt or into hospital, like, if they get something. Accidents happen, and that's the idea of, like, health and safety, is you can engineer out till everything's gone, but it's money and time allowing. But I think as we should be putting in enough that gets rid of the medium to high risk scenarios.
Yeah,
like, if we look at loading up people on their neck or crunching their neck and go, not worth it. Can we do jiu-jitsu differently that is just as effective without risking those things? I think you can. Like, you don't have to do high amplitude throws that involve spiking someone to their neck. Like, there's a reason we don't do suplexes.
Yeah.
We can do low amplitude takedowns. Do they still end up on the ground? Yes. Is the risk profile lower? Yes. Like, yeah, it's really got me like, I don't know if it's scared, but also I think it's more aware and conscious that
Aware.
like we should be doing so much more. Like we do a lot already, but I think it can always go higher. Just so it never hits. But it's onboarding people enough to let them loose fast enough, as in making sure when someone walks in the room, are you informed enough to then release you? Like what is informed enough? Not just like going on the mats and like then letting them go nuts. I think YouTube's a problem, and this goes into what you've been doing with regards to Instagram versus reality, is that people are putting up clips on Instagram of just like the wildest shit with no context. And I've said this before, like you're essentially giving people weapons and going, here you go. It's like almost like 3D printing weapons and putting the fucking blueprints online. And you are responsible for that. You put it on there. I know, historically we've put stuff online, but we are responsible for the things we say. And if saying someone goes out and does the wildest shit, and it's like, imagine teaching like really aggressive scissor takedowns.
I know. Silly.
As a video. Fucking wild. Yeah. And it's the same with like jumping guillotines. God damn, that's terrifying. Fuck me. We had visitors obviously on Sunday, and I was obviously not trying to kill one of them because they're relatively new. But one cranked my windpipe, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing." I'll be calm, but we can't let that happen again. I need to control you for my own safety until you have been onboarded with safety protocols. It's a bastard. Any further thoughts?
I think it is an area that we, as a community, as a whole, now need to start looking at and implementing things in gyms. Because it's happened once. I know it's happened in America, but it's just a ticking time thing now, and it'll happen again.
More of us are out there.
And it's growing. The sport's growing, and someone somewhere, someone higher up needs to be like, okay, we need to have some kind of, I wouldn't say criteria, but something that if any gym they operate, they have some kind of idea what they're teaching and what, when things go wrong, what to do and stuff like
that. Yeah. I think like I've been putting like some ideas in place and like thinking that what we need to things we need to put in place to make sure that everything's kind of crossed and dotted, just to make sure everyone's looked after really, as a should anything go wrong, but also then limiting that chance like on a technical basis because we are the competent people in the room. And yeah, so that's why I'm like almost scared sometimes of people coming in to do seminars, because I'm like, if you start arming people with like submissions without context, these uninformed people, these lower ranked people, I'm like, you better back up everything you just said with risk assessment for the weapons you just gave. Like, otherwise, if someone now gets injured because of the thing that you gave, who's that fall down to? Like, if you come in and show like a wild fucking scissor, what's his name, or a fucking really aggressive diving heel hook, or like a fucking jumping guillotine, or whatever, even though just a choke or an armbar, and you're not giving full context of what's happening, it's on you. Like, we've been creating a safe environment, and you've come in and given this. I think it has to be like, yeah, if you're going to come in and teach something, like, back it up. Like, or don't come back. Yeah, I think that needs to be universal. What else I was going to say? There was more stuff. Changing the subject. Slightly. So this whole thing about how we've been training recently as well, the element system. How are you finding it?
Fucking simple. I mean, it's a stuff that I did before anyway, but I didn't have a system to it. But now I'm like, when I'm halfway fucking up somewhere, I'm like, number four, now, number four in my head. I'm just going 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. So it's systemized and it put the urgency in. Like sometimes I'd give up positions or lose positions because of just thinking about it. But now it's like numbers in the head. So, I don't have to think about hips and legs. It's just like numbers. I know where I need to be, or I know where I should be, and I need to get there first.
Also it's fun to like sometimes, step out of dogma as on it. So as an explanation, so I know it's been a while since we've done this podcast. The last couple of years we've been on a pilgrimage of understanding jiu-jitsu differently. And what's kind of come out of this is we've nicknamed elements just because we lack originality on some naming ideas. And all it is it seems bonkers to say it out loud, but it's just a simple, strategic, systemized approach of training and sparring and learning and competing. Of part one is hand fighting from standing, quite simple. 2 is mat returning someone. So it's like you've said, we've broken up takedowns into 2 parts: beating the hand fight and then getting someone down to the ground. Part 3 is following them down, and this is where it kind of like it becomes really, really interesting. Is that the vast majority of well, I'd say the largest majority of things that you need to get up off the floor, should anything or defend yourself on the floor, is how do you use your legs in a fight. And so the second that we take you off your legs with a takedown, we want to limit how much you can use your legs. So we don't wait till you've hit the floor. We control your legs on the way down. So you can't pull guard, you can't stand up. It's all gone. 4 is kill the legs without passing guard. I think that's really important because it's learning to not be desperate with the pass and learn to actually control the legs more, so you've got a safer pass. 5 is passing the legs and controlling them at the same time. 6 is leg riding, which is causing adverse reactions to people who don't expect it, shall we say. And then 7 is taking a dominant control position like high mount, flight to Dagestan, etc. And it's a very systemized approach. It means that we can then in practice just identify core areas like that and be able to work on them and then flank them. So like say if people are having issue with 4, which is killing the legs within the guard, we can go cool, we'll go start from 3, follow down, 4 into leg killing, 5 into a pass, and just work backs and forwards. So we can say, right, you're in leg ride, they've gone too aggressive, fall back to 4 again. So it means moving up and down the scale. I think it's really an important part. So being able to fall back along the numbers. It seems, like I say, it seems almost ridiculously simple and obvious. But the more I kind of say it to people, they were like, "Oh, can you explain it to us? Like, can you write it down? Like, hand fight, take down, pass the legs, control them." Like, I don't see how this is a problem. But it really emphasizes control, and I think it also emphasizes anytime things are going wrong for you on the floor, if you're controlling someone, it's because you've let them have their legs back. And it really identifies this, like, you should be back on their legs. If you're losing control, don't just scramble like a maniac. Control their legs again. And everything kind of fixes. I also think, I was having this conversation with people, and I've said this a few times, of if I've got a black belt in subs and pins and they've got a black belt in limb fighting, like hand fighting or leg fighting or whatever, who wins? And some people say, oh, the person who's got the subs. But it's like, if I can't get past your legs or hands, I can't do my subs. And this kind of goes into like, I think someone in their first year can pin me down and submit me if they pass my legs. If they get me straight into side control, if they start from side control and then, or start on my back, like, there's a fair chance, despite my 16 years more than them, they're going to get me. The difference is, can they get past my legs to get there in the first place? Probably not.
Exactly.
And that's what's really frustrating me now, Ro, is that I want to find out, but I can't find anyone disciplined enough. If I just taught someone hand fighting and leg fighting, as in 1 and 4, for a year or 18 months, do you think they'd be a black belt?
That's an interesting one, you know.
Like, if we just didn't taught them fuck all else, like, don't get distracted, don't get looking at other things, don't look at back control or berimbolos or like buggy chokes or something like that. You just give me 18 months to a year and a half of just really consistent leg fighting into control or hand fighting into control. Where would you be? I think you'd be really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like if you were to work on 1 and 4 and like the adjacent numbers, like no subs or anything like that, just control. Because then if you could just, and this is what's interesting is like, I think it's a defining characteristic between every belt, is that a blue belt beats a white belt on a hand fight, and then the blue belt gets to play jiu-jitsu. Purple belt beats a blue belt on a hand fight, they get to play jiu-jitsu. If it was the other way around, if a blue belt beats the purple belt on a hand fight, denies the purple belt's game, blue belt gets to play jiu-jitsu, blue belt wins. And that I did this with Archie yesterday, bless him, because I was trying to like convince him of this like thought process of, look, I need you to focus on just periphery fighting. And I said that, you know, I'm essentially the black belt because I've got better periphery fighting. I then proved it by getting him 3 arm bars in a row in a minute. By just smashing through his guard and then getting him there. I'm like, yeah, because I've got the better hand fight. I could then break through, do my jiu-jitsu. But if you had the better limb fighting here, I wouldn't do that. So what do we need to upskill you on? Like, that. It's curious. Same with the takedowns. Like, everyone's hand fighting on the upright has got so good recently, it feels like I'm shit at takedowns.
Yeah. Fucking don't talk out spar today. And I'll thought to myself, I know I can wrestle. Why the fuck is it so hard now? You know what I mean?
Dude,
I have 2 17-year-olds who all I've taught is fucking hand fighting. And I'm like, fuck me. They're just not letting go of my hands. I'm trying to fucking go for arm drags and crushing collars and everything. And I'm like, shouldn't be this hard. Should not be this hard.
Exactly.
Well, I have to go to level 2. I'm like, I have to go to level 2 now. And now there's a chance I might have to hit them. And I don't want to hit them. It shouldn't be that hard.
And that, yeah, exactly. And that's what I find so curious, is that it's the most boring part of jiu-jitsu. It's the most overlooked part, and it's the part that you wouldn't want to like train for hours on end. But it's the one thing that's literally going to define whether you get to play it or not. And when you're in a scrap, like if you know that you could walk up to a guard and just walk through it, it's not going to even touch you. You wouldn't. You're the higher belt in that scenario. If you could just walk up to someone, beat their hands, and take them down, you're the better person in that scrap. I'm like, so what? Like, you know, I talk to people and they say, "Oh, I'm scared of takedowns." I'm like, "Well, I can't do them." It's like, are you incapable of taking someone down, or are you incapable of getting past their hands to get to the takedown? Because they're 2 very different things.
It's an interesting paradox, isn't it?
Because I'm like, it's not complicated. If you hold on to someone's legs and tie them together, they'll fall down. Your problem is getting there. So it's not a takedown issue. It's a getting past the hands issue. Same as, you know side control, mount, you can sit on someone and hold them down. That's not complicated. Your problem is getting past their guard, which is, hand fighting from the ground with someone who's got 4 hands. So I'm like, it's not a pins or subs issue. It's a hand fighting issue again. It's a limb fighting issue. And that's the whole idea of then they're putting 3 in, the follow down, is that why are you letting them have their arms and legs back if you've closed up the distance and give them freedom? And that's again like the reason for doing 4, is that when you suck at the periphery fighting, you're more likely to make desperate decisions to get around it because you suck. So I want you to stay there. I'm not going to let you pass. Like, I want you to learn by sticking in 4 and just learning to kill the legs. Give me that. Give me that for a year. Like, God, could you imagine if we could just get someone and go, just do this. Don't get distracted. Just do this for the next year. Let's see where we're at. I think you could have someone who's like
really
purple
good.
brown belt in a year easily. You'd have a freak. Maybe that's why people are so difficult in our gym these days.
Yeah.
Because they're just really good at that. Because we spent so long on it. It's just like, that's where me and you are like, fuck, they shouldn't be this good this quick.
I know.
Yeah, I think because obviously we're off to Georgia in a couple of weeks' time. 2 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah.
Dude, 2 weeks today. It's just after going after midnight. 2 weeks today we're leaving. Fuck. It'd be interesting playing this against people who don't know it and don't expect it. I want to see what happens as well. Like, you know, your first time meeting Nikolai, lovely guy, and all the Russians and Georgians. I want to see what happens. See what happens, because I don't think I was leg riding them last time I was there.
Oh, should be fun then.
Oh, he sees a bit on the Patreon, but I don't know how much is absorbed. Oh, God. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see. Yeah, so that's going on to the Patreon currently. I've just finished scripting out and putting the bits together for 3, so that'll be going up imminently. 4 we recorded last week, so I'll be finishing that in the next few days. Record 5 and 6 today. Perfect, and get that made up. I've just put the video in for your new...
Wicked. I'll grab it and edit it.
Dude, why didn't we think before about recording it vertically? It looks so much cleaner.
I know.
You'll load up in a minute and you'll be like, idiot, why didn't we do this before? Yeah, stupid. Final part, because I didn't upload this. Silly me. So it was on about, I watched a clip of a conservative Tory, if you're American or just not British, politician getting rinsed. Like, oh, it's glorious. If you go find it, it's just the best watching someone's brain fall out. And it's regarding the whole, and I was going to a wider conversation on this, because we're both of a similar ideology, I think, at times. A lot of the debate regarding trans is always this idea that, oh, men shouldn't be competing in women's divisions. Right? I'm not smart enough to know that debate. I'm not a scientist who understands biology to that level. I know my wheelhouse. I show people how to hold other people down and talk online. I'm not smart enough. But what happened to this poor politician? I'll show you the video afterwards. It's fucking hilarious. I wish we could play it online. I just had to put the phone to my WhatsApp or something. But what happened was he was debating the presenter and this Labour MP, I think it was. And she goes, "What about a trans man?" And the guy goes, "Oh, what?" And it's like, "Yeah, a woman who's transitioning to be a male." He's like, I don't follow. Where would they go? They'd have to go into the women's bathroom then if we're following this whole idea of biological sex. And he's like, I don't get what you mean. And she's like, so you'd have what essentially looks like a man with a beard and bald head or whatever going into a women's bathroom because they are biologically female. And he's like, and you see his brain literally fall out. And he's like, I've never even thought of it that way around. I think that's, we're going, so I'll crack on with the debate a bit in a minute. But, yeah, so if we go down this whole, people always have this argument, well, what about men competing in women's divisions? And, yeah, there's whole idea of, muscle density and, having access to testosterone for a large portion of your life and getting, muscle density, etc. But what about then, if you go down the biological route, of women, biological females who have then been on testosterone for 10 years, going with a beard and everything, do we put them in the women's division? I'm like, Like, it's always spoken of the other way around, but never that way around. If you want to go down
It's all twisted. Don't know what's going on.
if you want to go down the biological route, absolutely. Like, but there are ramifications the other way around. And again, like this Tory MP is kind of a prime example of someone who's going down the whole toilet debate and going, oh, men shouldn't be in women's bathrooms. Okay, well, what about a biological female that goes in there who's been on testosterone and has a beard, etc.? That's going to look just as concerning in your eyes. Well, we put those in sports then. Like, we're going to have these biological females who have had testosterone from puberty onwards or whatever. Like, you're not going to say that's a bit of a unfair advantage. Like, Jesus Christ. And again, I'm not getting on a debate necessarily, just because I'm not smart enough to fully understand the biological ramifications and levels and densities, etc., and blah 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 blah. Also, I think it's a distraction in general from much bigger fish that is destroying society, and I feel that there are people telling us to look the other way for some reason and fight amongst ourselves. But yeah, thoughts on that one? Like, because that would be an interesting predicament. Like, again, it's such a small issue.
It's a percentage. Like, when you look at the percentage of the people who are trans and stuff, it's like, why is this even a conversation?
It's not.
And like you say, like, with the amount of bigger things going on in the country and around the world, you know what I mean? It's just limelight for no reason. And I think, I'm pretty sure that most of the people, like, who are trans and stuff, they have never tried to claim what these people are trying to say. That, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, because I'm sure I've seen some interviews where they've said, we haven't even ever brought these to the limelight. There's people throwing light on this shit. We're not even bothered, like, you know what I mean? And they're taking their rights away and stuff.
Dude, like, it's such a, like, I am as liberal lefty as it pretty much comes. And I feel I had to be to do my job effectively back in the day, because if I had biases, then in some capacity, like, imagine, like, if it's anti-trans, anti-immigrant, or LGBTQ or whatever, if I got up to a car crash and saw someone bleeding out, but they were in, like, they look trans, and I went, I ain't going to save you. That's a problem. Like, if I went in,
that's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Or I don't like the color of the people in this car. I'm like, that's also a problem. So I am pro-human in every way. And I do feel like there was actually, I saw an interview with a Kentucky Democrat, and he got asked this question by the reporter. I think it was like from Fox News or something, saying about, someone competing in, like, high school volleyball who was trans. And it's like, 2 million people are about to lose their health insurance, and you are bringing up the topic of this. This is the important thing for you. Like, 2 million people are about to lose their health insurance, and you care about one high school that has a trans athlete. Really? And I think it's the same here. Like, it's. I only bring it up because it's definitely like, I can. People who are bringing the debate up are, like, going from a very point of view just to get people emotional, and not going from the other angle of, like, what about the other side? Oh shit! I haven't even thought of that. It's just like, so there's an emotional aspect to it, and it's definitely like a distraction. Like, if that's what people care about, the 1 or 2 trans athletes competing in amateur BJJ, really, that's the hill we're dying on, and yet there's a genocide at the same time. I'm like,
exactly.
There's someone distracting you.
Not even one genocide. There's multiple genocides going on around the world.
I know. And I think at this point we could probably just, like, cut the podcast here and flip over to yours. Your one that you're starting.
Yeah, that would be a good crossover.
Yeah, and say, and cut, and that's Naki's podcast. And we can talk about all those kind of things.
Talk about politics
and wax lyrical for, dude, I think it'll be even longer than this podcast if you were to go on about that stuff.
They can go for hours.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were sort of go down that route in the gym the other day of like,
Yeah, because we all started talking about it.
oh, dude, that's part of the thing though. Is like, I know as I've got to be as, I don't know if it's being apolitical and stuff, but like, you know, a large amount of viewpoints enter the gym, and you don't want to alienate people, etc., etc. Unless they're wrong, then you've really got to tell them they're wrong. Yeah, I try and, but it just set me off the other day. I was like, I can't hold it anymore.
But I think we all were on the same page. I think it was just more so just fucking understanding the root cause of things.
I think that's one thing we talk about on one of the podcasts that didn't go up, is that there has definitely been a shift towards more right-wing ideas. I mean, wasn't there that, we talked about it before, wasn't there that guy who from a jiu-jitsu gym in London who went off and knifed a bunch of people?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of
It's
thing.
not that old either. I think it was last year.
Yeah, it was like last year. And that's the kind of thing that worries me, is that, I mean, you know, obviously, media-wise, there was always that idea of radicalization in Muslim communities and stuff. But I think we're definitely in the era of radicalization in gyms.
Yeah, big time.
Jiu-jitsu or whatever related, like, you know, people having very right-wing or whatever, very radicalized kind of points of view, and you know, again, you're in a scenario where you're arming people, and that worries the shit out of me, because again, it's this idea that the coach is the one at the top and should be should be keeping a stable community of stable people. If we've got someone in our midst who's if we allow that kind of environment to fester, what does it result in? Because you know, again, I'm not ridiculous enough to not have heard some of the rhetoric when it came to post 9/11 with regards to Muslim communities, like, you know, you should guys, we should be doing better to not allow radicalization to happen in mosques. And it's like, right, but here we are, and people are becoming more anti-human. Same with the trans stuff, same with LGBTQ, same with anti-immigrant or people who look a bit different. These are now breeding grounds for radicalization in parts. Do we then not have something to say about that? I mean, some people listen to this, actually listen to this and go, I don't see anything wrong with what you just said. Like, you know, fuck the trans, fuck the gays, and fuck the browns. And I'm like... but then it's oh god, we can go on forever about this. Like, some of this ICE raids in America it's the idea of, oh, but not you. I think you've heard that enough throughout your life.
Yeah, plenty of times, man.
Oh, you're one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Oh, but not you.
Okay. You're not like them.
Yeah. This country's for English people and English people only. What about knack? Oh, I don't mean knack. Then who? Like, because then, yeah, like, you have those, if you have those kind of environments kind of festering of like people who are like posting anti-trans or anti-LGBTQ stuff, and then we have a trans LGBTQ or whatever kind of person join the gym, is that going to be a problem? Are they going to spar and that person's going to get hurt? Like, we can't let that shit just fall apart. Like,
100%. It's a real problem.
Dude, like, imagine at an MMA gym, like, you have someone who's like, you know, who's trans or who's, you know, asylum seeking or whatever, and you go, okay, go spar this person who's like a bit of a right wing nutcase.
Yeah.
Is that person going to get hurt? Fill them in, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what do you then do? Oh, like, you know, boys would be boys, or like, you know, chips were, you know, let the chips fall where they may, and it's like, no, the fuck. Like, Exactly. And that's what kind of drives me insane is that, a lot of people are going down this kind of road, but it's like, do you understand the things that you're saying? It's like, you go down this whole, fuck the boat people, whatever, in the UK. And it's like, no, I've got an issue. If people come here for genuine asylum, then fucking give them asylum. And if they want to end up in our gym, I'll give them the same amount of attention as I would anyone else. And anyone who then turns around to them and gives them a hard time, I'm going to stamp you out. Like, and you've heard the same shit. Like, if someone comes in, whatever, nationality and whatever, it's as long as you're pro-human and you are looking after everyone in this room and you're just a good person, no matter who comes in, you're going to look after them. Otherwise, I can't see why I'm arming you with dangerous shit.
Yeah.
That's a conundrum. Oh, like,
No.
Dude, all these things to think about in jiu-jitsu, like safeguarding, making sure that people are, all treated fairly in the room, good environment, good culture, making sure that there's good health and safety practices and not just cleanliness, but also like the things that you show that they don't result in life-changing injuries or death. Like, I thought I was just going to be teaching jiu-jitsu. That's what I was kind of sold on, like just showing some techniques out of a book.
Yeah.
This has been a fun podcast.
Yeah, we went to the different topics there, different range of topics.
Dude, I know. We're evolving. It's not just like... Because I remember the old car questions, like, what if someone goes for like a Lasucho?
I know.
And now it's like, how do you change politics to make sure that people don't get hurt? Yeah, we'll keep going. This Villaincast, man. Thinking differently. But yeah, so let me know when you start your podcast and we can then flip over. We can give more shit on that one. Like, especially now you got the good microphone.
I know, yeah.
It sounds
quite sick, that is.
Dude, it sounds fantastic. Like, like I'm helping some people like sort out some podcasts these days, and I'm like, nothing sounds as good as this one because these are great mics. Audio,
nice.
Audio. Yeah. So welcome back to Villaincast. We'll have more. We're away for a couple of weeks because you've got Finland as well, haven't you? I saw you post it up earlier.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we can record a few extra episodes before we all go. And then we can obviously post those beforehand and set them on a schedule. So
Indeed.
If you're free, sir, I'll post this one.
Always.
Thank you for your time and see you tomorrow. And Luke and the boys.
Tomorrow. Yes, hopefully.
Cool.
I need to confirm.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I'll be down so I can watch. Thank you, sir. And thank you for everyone coming back to Villaincast. Where's my mic? Oh, no. Oh, this is never going to end otherwise. There we go. I couldn't find my mouse. I was like, it's over. It was going to be here all night long. Cool. Night, Nack.
Nah, see you in a bit.